Hello everybody, it is me, I am Rex, Rex the dog. Welcome to my YouTube channel if you haven't stopped by before. We stream a lot of video games, we hang out, we chat, and out of the YouTube videos I post, outside the streams, this is kind of my bread and butter. My laundry vlogs. I do a vlog where I'm just simply talking about my recent life, what's been going on, giving you guys a little update, what's going on in my head, as I put the laundry out to dry. So here we are for another laundry vlog in the life of Rex T Dog. So those who kind of follow these in real time and hang out in the streams or whatever have a little bit of more of a understanding of the ongoing narrative of how I'm feeling and what's going on. I would say at the moment I'm just feeling a little. Is ennui the word? Ennui, lethargic, these sorts of terms. I've had a couple of just like major hiccups that have happened in my life, in kind of like professional and like semi sort of like personal sides of my life. It's causing a lot of problems, and problems that really should have been resolved within a day, honestly, have dragged out to nearly 2 weeks now, and I do think it is going to drag out until 2 weeks and probably beyond, out of things which are out of my control and just not being able to get responses or whatever. So it's been a little bit stressful. It definitely has affected my mood, as I said in the past laundry vlog. It's affected my appetite. It's affected my energy, right? And it kind of, when you start to get into these, or at least me, because I can only sort of talk about myself, right? We start to get into sort of these like foul moods or whatever, or however you want to characterize it. It crosses over into sort of like other elements of your life, and sometimes these things can be a little bit all-consuming. Now, I was talking, last laundry vlog, whether I did that yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, about trying to focus on the idea of forgiveness and not getting stuck in cycles of anger that might be like all consuming and stop me from sort of seeing the wood from the trees and all that sort of thing. And I think that's kind of going okay. I don't feel particularly as particularly rageful as I did. So I'm happy about that. There's just really sort of being like aware of that and focusing on that and like, okay, let's not go down this road when those sorts of like emotions kind of flare up. So sort of like naming them and going like, okay, let's not do that. That's working out well. But it's not improving. The other problems still sort of prevail of being a little bit like mentally drained. I'm not exactly sure. I've got my autopilot routine of just making sure I'm taking care of everything. And honestly, I've done some nice little improvements to the house the past few days, which have been a little bit extra, and like organized some things, and I put up some new lights, and I set up my speaker system and all that sort of thing. But I don't know, I am finding myself with, chunks. Usually my problem is I'm struggling to find the time to do everything I want to do, because I'm so excited, and I'm just like, oh, I want to do this thing, and I want to do that thing, and I want to do this thing, and I'm so excited, and I'm struggling to find the time to do everything I want to do. The past few days, I've ended up with like, 2 hours chunks of time where I'm like, I don't really want to go for a run. I don't really want to read. I don't really want to play the guitar. I don't really want to watch a movie. I don't really want to play a game. Which, that's really rare for me, where I kind of get into that sense of like lethargy and like not really wanting to do anything. Because usually I'm ending my days like, oh man, I wish I could have done this as well, and this as well, and this as well, and this as well. And it's, not having enough time. But at the moment, it's just like, I could just go to bed early, which it's not exactly a great sign, but at least I'm aware of it, right? And in the same way I was aware of those like cycles of anger, and we've kind of nipped a bud in that. The aim now is to kind of be, name this, identify this, notice it while it's happening, and maybe we can work to course correcting that and kind of get ourselves back to our usual business. But that's kind of what's going on, and it is honestly bringing up like bigger questions of like, because when you've got enough, when you're not finding enjoyment in things, or you're not finding, you're struggling to decide how you spend your time or whatever, and you're somebody who does like to be really intentional with how they live, it is kind of bringing up these questions in my head about like purpose of, and now's really not the time to be doing that because of how I feel at the moment. So I do want to sort of get myself back to baseline first, but I do really think I'm due a kind of serious conversation with myself about like, am I doing what I want to be doing? What sort of like, meaningful things do I want to be producing and putting out there? I'm not talking about like YouTube here. I'm just talking about like my life, right? What sort of things do I want to be like meaningfully putting out there? What marks do I want to make? What are the next challenges or whatever? Because I guess this which I'm facing now has come at a bit of a not an ideal time. I'm going to talk about that for a second and see if I can kind of develop that idea, because that's what these videos always are. It's just me sort of rambling and trying to develop ideas. Those of us who were with us, especially for the back half of the year, I had a lot of like intentional projects going on. I had competitions, I had the marathon I was training for, or whatever every day. I had, personal targets with this YouTube channel because I was like, oh, it'd be cool to get the partnership. I had writing and recording the music for the EP for my furry band, Howl and Defy. And, I had all these things going on, and I managed to close a lot of those things in the last couple months of the year. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to take January just to sort of like rest, reset, get back into the routine, and then we can pick all the new purposes. So I think kind of what's thrown me back a little bit right now is I've hit this wall, I've hit these problems, which has sent me kind of in a downward spiral where I start having these conversations with myself about what's my purpose, what's my whatever, because I was just gonna chill this month, and I was gonna pick all my new like targets and goals, and I have vague ideas of them next month. That was the idea in February. It was like, I'm gonna, so this has happened. I think if this happened next month when I had all these things I was working towards, I'd be like, okay, so this thing over here is like a massive problem, but I know who I am, and I'm somebody who's working on all these things, and these are my goals, and this is what I'm doing, and it's to build up this or whatever. We're kind of just in a situation at the moment where it's like maintaining the ship of my life, and we've just took a giant hit to the hull. And so it's like, okay, gotta, suffer while I wait for other people to help me fix the ship. And then it kind of feels like, oh, so what? So the ship can just be fixed. Like there isn't like a grander idea and a grander thing I'm aiming for at the moment, if that makes any sense at all, because it barely makes sense to me at the moment. So, yeah, I guess where my head is at the moment is like, I'm quite happy and quite proud I'm not falling into anger. I'm identifying this like lethargy and just like things are pointless and ennui and I don't want to do anything and I just kind of want to sleep. I'm identifying that as a thing. I'm identifying that I do need to have some serious conversations and analysis about not just what are the next goals, which was what I was going to be doing in February anyway, but also how does that actually expand into like a bigger picture? What is the kind of sort of general, and plans change and whatever, but what's kind of the general direction and general sort of like dream that we're aiming for? But I'm not in a state to, although it would help to have that conversation and answer those questions right now, I really don't think I'm in a position to do that. And I need to get those that kind of like helplessness and lack of enthusiasm fixed first. But the issue with that is there really is issues of those parts of those issues and parts of those problems which have been the instigators of causing these things, which I do not have control over. And so, because like I'm somebody of action, you know, and I'll be like, and I'll be knocking on the door, but there's only so much you can do within your sort of personal remit before it becomes, you know, entities bigger than you. So I kind of just have to wait for them to do that, and it's not fun waiting. So focusing on what's in my control, the forgiveness thing, which I feel we're on top of right now, so cool. So forgiveness to avoid getting anger, to avoid losing time like that. And then I need to have these situations fixed, so I need to just learn. This is helping. This is really helping me. I need to just focus on resting, and I need to just focus on making the most of this period of time right now, because ultimately the solutions and the outcomes I'm looking for are dependent on a time which isn't now, or dependent on other people working. So I can't, like, you know, as much as I've like bashed the door to try and make people accountable and make them go faster, it's not working. So expending all my energy on doing that and then being frustrated because people aren't carrying out things in the way that I see is right and fair and just and whatever, I'm just gonna have to kind of forget about that, enjoy the present the best I can, and see if we can take joy in things again. I'm not like completely depressed or joyless at the moment, but my mood is like is definitely dipped, and it's tough, it's challenging. But again, that's normal. And I'm just gonna focus on those things within my control. I'm going to keep trying to focus on forgiveness so I don't lose myself in the spirals of anger. And I'm going to try and just give patience to, I can't control this situation. I will know the answer to this situation in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, however many weeks' time. And in the meantime, I just got to take care of myself healthily. And give myself like permission and space to sort of just still take joy in things while we're in that kind of interim period. Weird laundry vlogs right now, but that's what you get with laundry vlogs. Sometimes I'm bouncing about over there, and sometimes we're talking like this. This has really been the first major roadblock in honestly, I think like 18 months, maybe even longer now, maybe even longer. But we will get through it, and we'll learn something, and I'm glad that I'm kind of at least appreciating and learning things along the way, because when I've had problems like this in the past years ago, nothing comparable to this, but you know, just like other issues and whatever, it's always just been really blind going through it, and typically because of rage. But there we go. I'll see you guys all soon. I have a massive appreciation to everybody who's hanging out at the moment, everybody who's been like chatting with me and whatever. It's really, really appreciated. I appreciate that a lot, because as I said, I've got a lot of just sort of like ennui at the moment, and a lot of like passiveness and a lot of lethargy and a lot of like, yeah, just like not giving it my all, and that's something that I'm usually known for, and that's a big part of me, and it does feel like that part of me is missing at the moment, and it does kind of make me a stranger to myself and a life a stranger to me and all that sort of thing. But I think talking about it just like out loud like this to myself and kind of figuring it out, you know, with the camera, and then also talking to you guys when you guys are around, and the people who've like dropped support in the various different ways, is really, really appreciated. So yeah, maybe not a bunch of like super long streams at the moment, but I'm still around. I'm still going to be posting laundry vlogs, and you know, and doing some streams and keeping you guys updated on the frickin' community tab and all that sort of thing, and on the various social medias or whatever. But yeah, guys, peace out for now. And then talking about support, I like to try and remember to do this every time now. Here's a bunch of people who've, over the past few videos or whatever, have, either donated from like the super chats or the Ko-fi. The Ko-fi is always the best place to do that if you do so wish to. People who've collaborated me in some ways, or it's helping me out with like videos and stuff like that. People who've dropped very kindly, drawn a little Rex and sent it that way, my way, I love it. And the people over on the server who've boosted presently or in the past. But that's me dropping out. Thank you again for your time. If any of this adds any sort of value to it, you can relate to it in any sort of way, you've got any sort of like just insight or whatever, please comment below, man. Always up for the conversation. And it does make me feel, I am really grateful when I get these comments of people being like, oh, whoa, like, like I just stumbled on this video and it kind of like resonated true for me in this regard. Like, that makes me happy. Anyway, peace out, guys. Bye, bye, bye.